life was more than what I could get from God, then I realized that the goal of God was to live like him. And that might mean that I'm believing for finances. Yes, I'm believing for the right, job or believing. But the bottom line was the character of Christ and the priority in terms of my life, the vision of Christ. I was a product of him bringing me into the world. So why shouldn't my life be his priority? And so when I saw that, I decided, not really literally, maybe so, but not to let doctrine weigh me down in the sense of being like a faith preacher or a Pentecostal preacher or a evangelical preacher, or these were all cultural. They were religious cultures. And in reality, I have to say subcultures, because the Bible was a book that isn't about denominations of any sort. It's about the God that created them and the Son who redeemed them. And that Son comes to live in his body, which he made, and that means you, and that you yield your whole life to him, Christ in you, the hope of glory. That's the point. So, and as I continue to grow, my message became more along those lines. Then I saw that Jesus prayed all night. So there in Richmond, we prayed all night. We saw that Jesus got up a great while before day. We got up a great while before day. We saw that 21-day fast was a vital biblical premise. Daniel did it. We did 21-day fast. In other words, the construct of the priorities of our life. Man shall not live by bread alone, but by every word. We made the word a priority. Many of you listening to me right now, that's how I led you. I led you to stay married. Get married, stay married. I led you not to have sex prior to being married. And I led you not to divorce. So did people have sex prior to marriage? Yep. Did people divorce? Yep. Not very many though. But should be none. Yes, I talked with someone recently where both the husband and the wife were adulterers. Eventually they divorced. And they were saved and did it. And what did he do it for? Because they had a form of God, but denied the power of it. It wasn't real. On the other hand, I said to someone just the other day that the fact that I was married and stayed married, and that the two of us were living pure towards each other, it's God. It's God did it. But I was in that environment where I was inspired to do it, to live godly. Now, doesn't mean that some people, having been saved, didn't make mistakes in it. Not having had sex, but lust. I mean, look, I could say this clearly and be right about it. That in some ways, every person listening to me is an adulterer. Why would you say that? Or a fornicator. Why would you say that? Because Jesus says that a man that would think about it in his heart, he's done it already. So I don't know anybody that would say, I've never thought about sex outside of being married to somebody. See? I'll take your picture. Yeah. But you didn't do it, but you still are an adulterer because Jesus said you don't have to do it physically to be an adulterer. Because his goal is purity through and through, inward and outward, starting from the inside out, invisible to the visible. See? So, I'm over in Genesis chapter 3, and I'm not actually exegeting the scriptures, I'm just explaining Adam's transgression and what went on there. I said, number one, that Adam did not stand up to the serpent, the devil, and then he did not stand up to God. The devil came to take over the vision for the planet, which he did, but it had to be given over to him by Adam. That's the only way he could get it. And then secondly, he ends up being called the God of this world. Said another way, the God of worldliness. The worldly children are the children of the devil. And that ain't the hard saying. It's just what it is. See? So Adam then validated the nonsense. I heard you walking in the garden, so I hid. I was afraid because I was naked. 3 nonsensical statements, and God shouted him down with that. Who told you you were naked? I'm reading verse 11 of Genesis 3. So there you go. So God cut right through the nonsense, and from that point on, man lived below the created purpose. So this matter of eternity training that I'm talking about, living life with eternity in view, is going back to the context of the original creation, the seed of it in your life when you get born again. The fulfillment of it is when you die and get your new body and go to heaven. Now, I'm right about this, and I'm hitting it. I'm just saying, I'm definitely hitting it. Look what it says in Luke 20. And I can't go into it in the detail I need to, but I'm going into it enough for you to see that this is critical for you to see the next world. Look at verse 34. Marriage is for people. Jesus replied, marriage is for people here on earth. But in the age to come, verse 35 of Luke chapter 20, but in the age to come, those worthy of being raised from the dead will neither marry nor be giving in marriage. Did you hear that? I mean, how are you going to deal? What are you going to say? So I can say to you that marriage was not an eternal construct. It's certainly not anymore. Now, if Adam had not sinned, then the two of them would have been married. And everyone else would have been married and been together and children, a planet of godliness. Think about that. Watch this. We're already living in it. The planet is just not brick and mortar or dirt. We're in the realm of the eternal, and we have eternal life, and really we're already living in the realm that God exists in. Now, you can't say it's a planet, it's the whole creation. And it's because Jesus is, as the Son of Man, was raised from the dead, he's the author now of the realm we're going to and living from right now. He's trying to help us see that real world and live out of it. People, I'm not preaching to you, I'm telling you the truth. It's not just preaching. You and I got to live out of that world now. And here's what Jesus said to those nonsense Sadducees. But in the age to come, those worthy of being raised from the dead will neither marry nor be giving in marriage. They will never die again. In this respect, they'll be like angels. They are children of God and children of the resurrection. Now, do you hear me? Now, so they will never die again. Now, you think about this point. You will never die again. Doesn't that also mean you can't be killed?